The Zbox 1300 was a knockoff console from the Xbox 360. It was just god awful. It was nothing like a regular knockoff piece of shit console. I remember seeing it for the first time on eBay. I shuddered. At the same time, however, something was telling me to buy it. I still don't know why until this day, but I bought it anyway. I got it about a week later. The Zbox looked nearly identical to the original Xbox. I unplugged my Xbox 360 and hooked up my Zbox 1300. It wasn't working at first for some reason, but I finally managed to get it to work. The startup screen was an orange Z. Below it was Zbox 1300, all against a black background. It was only a still image that appeared to be decaying. I managed to get a picture of the startup screen. I just got my camera and took a photo, which I was surprised about because the first couple of times the pictures would just delete themselves off my camera. So it was kind of excruciating. Can't find out why the picture was in such perfect shape though. After a minute or two, the menu came up. Everything seemed like the very first menu from when the Xbox 360 first came out, which confused me. The title screen looked eerie and terrifying. Why did it look so normal? I sighed and popped in the first game that went with the console, which was called Shooting Wars, which I assumed was going to be a rip-off COD game. Shooting Wars started up. It had the COD Black Ops 1 theme song in it. The only option in the menu was play. I hit the play button and a loud beeping noise started. I thought it had crashed, but the game had finally started. The controls handled okay, and the graphics weren't anything special. I found myself standing in front of a house. The objective was to infiltrate the house. I walked inside the house. It looked like a regular living room. I headed up the stairs, then I heard a slamming sound behind me. I looked back at the door, and it was shut. I shrugged it off and moved on. I was walking down a hallway, and in front of me was a door. It was moving away. The faster it went, the closer the walls got to each other. I'm extremely claustrophobic, so I was sweating and hardly able to breathe. I had to pause the game for a minute or two to take a sip of water and a few gulps of air. When I unpaused it, the walls were red and meaty. Not bloody, but just meaty. It looked like the walls were made out of organs. I finally reached the door and I opened it, and there was a little girl standing in front of me, facing the other way. I had a bad feeling in my stomach. I didn't want to go near it. All of a sudden, my character starts walking towards her. The game was controlling it, not me. I tried to prepare myself, but what I saw was just sickening. The girl's face was mangled and bloody. Her eyeballs had cuts in them. Parts of the nose was missing, along with her lips. She opened her bloody mouth and screamed violently in my face. The game froze and went back to the console menu. I sighed and moved on to the next game, which was called Mega Racer. Like Shooter Wars, the only option was play. Instead of a car selection before the race, like a traditional racing game, it threw me right in with a 70s looking Chevy. The whole sky was black and the track was white. I was falling asleep from boredom when suddenly everything turned black. I tried hating the TV and it showed the girl, that girl from the Shooter Wars game. She was staring at me, literally. Everywhere I moved, her eyes moved with me. She winked and disappeared. Not as scary as the first game, but still eerie. When it went back to the Zbox main menu screen, the background was hellish. I tried turning off the console, but every time it would show a highly detailed picture of that damn girl screaming, along with a loud noise. It wasn't screaming, more of a scratching on a chalkboard kind of sound. It was starting to get repetitive. Finally, I put in the last game, called Mercy. This one stood out to me the most. The menu was an image of an eye lying on the ground. Above that eye was a title, Mercy. This had 3 options: New Game, Load Game, and Settings. Before I started playing, I decided to go to the settings. There was nothing to change. I kinda scratched my head. What was the point of having a setting there in the first place? I clicked New Game, and a text box appeared. Buying this game was your mistake. This is your fault. You can't win. You won't win. You'll never win. Then, after 30 seconds of a black screen, huge squiggly text popped up saying, "You're in my world now." Next thing I know, I'm in a silent, white room. I looked down on the ground. My character's shadow was growing, and eventually, it showed up on the wall. It had white eyes. The shadow jumped out of the wall and attacked my character. I then ended up in the same room, but it wasn't white. It was gray. I walked around in circles, and all of a sudden, the wall textures became tiles of animated GIFs, each morbid and disgusting. One animated GIF was a surgery video. It showed a bloody hand going into the guts of a young boy. He grabbed his small intestine, bit into it, and started sucking on it. That was only the least violent GIF on the walls. Suddenly, a door popped up. I opened the door, and the console crashed. I sighed of relief. "It's finally over," I said. At first, I considered destroying the Zbox, but instead, I just put it back up on eBay. Damn thing is broken anyway. What's the difference? Within a few hours, someone bought it, so I shipped it to whoever bought it and went on with my week. Yesterday, about a month later, I was walking down the street to the local IHOP. On a street pole, I saw a lost girl sign, but the picture of the girl, the same one from the games on the Zbox. I've been having dreams of her ever since.